Today's video is super close to my heart because it's about something that shapes the next generation. I'm breaking down 3 key lessons every mother should be teaching her daughter. These are the things that I have instilled in my daughter as she is growing into a young adult. I want to ensure that we are growing the next generation to have healthy relationships with themselves and others by instilling strong morals and values. Our daughter's overall well being begins with us, the parents. We parents are ultimately responsible for raising strong, compassionate daughters who are not afraid to be leaders in their community. Our girls are our future, so let's raise them right together.
Ceiling fan blowing cold breeze on your body. I can't tell you really what it is, but you got it. Makeup in the morning, you got dresses in your closet, but you grab them tight, you in love with being my...
Hey girl, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tremise Nicole, and I'm all about empowering women and building strong communities. I hope you all enjoyed this video, so let's just go ahead and get into tip number 1. Okay, ladies, so the first thing that we should be teaching our daughters. It is so important to teach our daughters to value themselves. And I'm not just talking about physical beauty. Though we all know our daughters are stunning, but their whole selves, their minds, their hearts, and their worth as individuals. We live in a world where social media and outside influences are constantly telling our girls what they should look like or what they should be doing. It's up to us to remind them that their worth isn't tied to likes, followers, or someone else's opinion. It comes from within. Encourage her to set boundaries, speak up for herself, and know when to walk away from situations or people that don't honor her value. Let her know it's okay to say no and that self-respect is non-negotiable. Praise her whole self. Celebrate her talents, her intelligence, her kindness, and her creativity. I often encourage and praise my daughter when she's creative. When it comes to doing nails, y'all see she did mine. When it comes to doing nails, when it comes to her learning how to do lashes, she made jewelry. Every little creative idea that she had, I was making sure that I was encouraging her and grooming her to understand that those talents that she has, it shouldn't go to waste. And I always encouraged her to be the best version of herself so that I made sure that she understood her value. With me always investing in her creative endeavors, it helped her build confidence so that she knows that if anything, she knows that she can create freely. It provides her a safe space to express herself. Encourage self-reflection. Help her identify her strengths and what makes her unique by journaling or having heart-to-heart conversations. My daughter and I often have heart-to-heart conversations. Before I started working remote, oftentimes my daughter and spent most of our alone or quiet time in a car. And so we would have our heart-to-heart conversations in the car. Every now and then, I would turn off the sing-alongs and the songs as we sing to our heart's content. Every now and then, I would turn it off, and we would just have a full-blown conversation. I would hit pause. I'd say, you know what, Mira? Let's just talk. How was your day today? What's been going on in your life? I always made it a point to show her that I was fully invested in whatever it was that she had to talk about that day. Whatever it was, no matter if it was drama at school, perhaps there was no drama, she just had a wonderful day. Perhaps it was something about her father or even something about me. She knew that in the car, she had my undivided attention and that it was a safe space for her to simply express herself. Also, moms, you also want to model self worth. Let her see you valuing yourself. Set an example by prioritizing self care and setting boundaries and speaking positively about yourself. I personally had to work on this for myself, not only just to heal myself, but to make sure I was setting a positive example and role model for my daughter. Oftentimes, I would look in the mirror and maybe vocalize something that I didn't like about myself. But when I recognized that my daughter was doing the same thing, I quickly stopped and realized that maybe I shouldn't be talking about this in front of her because I don't want her to develop unhealthy self thoughts about herself. I wouldn't want my daughter to talk about herself the way I was talking about myself. I always wanted to make sure that I led the way and set the example of how to set positive boundaries, not only with my family, but also with my peers. I allowed her to see me set healthy boundaries with my close friends and family members. That also took me a little time to learn. However, I made sure that I instilled in her how to set healthy boundaries with her friends, her family, even her teachers if that was necessary, in a respectful way. Because there is a respectful way to set boundaries with those people who may have authority over you or who may be near and dear to your heart, but you want to make sure that you're setting those clear boundaries so that you're not getting ran all over and taken advantage of. You want to limit external validation. Teach her that she doesn't need constant approval from others to feel good about herself. She doesn't always have to go ask someone else, like her friend or a family member, or even you, about how she feels about herself or how she looks for the day. I always told my daughter, if you like how you look, that's all that matters. If you like your outfit for the day, that's all that matters. If you feel like that you have done all you can on this in this schoolwork or in this classwork, that's all that matters. If you feel like you've put your best foot forward, I'm okay with that. And you should be too. That helps build their confidence and also helps them set values and the expectations that they have for themselves. You want to celebrate progress over perfection. Encourage her to focus on growth and effort rather than comparing herself to others. You want to make sure that you avoid comparing her to other people by saying,
"Did you get a B in social studies? Well, so-and-so's daughter, she got an A, and you guys are in the same class. I don't know why you didn't get an A."
why are you comparing her to somebody else? Don't compare your daughter or your child to someone else. You should also introduce affirmations. I bought Amira her very first diary when she was about 5 or 6 years old, and I knew that she could read and write for herself. Although most of the grammar was either incorrect and the spelling was very wrong, I would encourage her to write her feelings down. In this diary, I would have her write down prompts about how she's feeling about herself, about how I would encourage her and let her know that she was beautiful, and I would want her to write down, I'm beautiful, I am smart, and today I am feeling X, Y, and Z. In this diary, she is not only able to write and confirm her daily affirmations, but she's also able to write down her feelings and able to tap into her emotions and understand her emotions. One other cool tip that I used to do for Amira when she was younger was in the mornings, I would write sticky notes and I would just have cute little affirmations that were readable and age appropriate for her. And I would just stick them on the mirror or stick them on the bathroom counter and have her read them back to herself every morning. This would help build her confidence, such as like, I am enough or I deserve respect. Not only do we need to make sure our daughters are setting healthy boundaries with their peers, but we also as mothers and parents need to make sure that we are respecting their boundaries. I know that may sound weird from you. I know for some of us, me included, my mother will often say, "What privacy? You don't have no privacy. You're only 16, or you're only 12, or you're only 11. Ain't no privacy in this house, or there is no boundaries in this house." Oftentimes, we were raised like that. But we need to start setting healthy boundaries with our child and we respect them so that they can grow up and go out in the world and understand that, yes, these people should be respecting my boundaries. If my mother can respect my boundaries, you also should be respecting my boundaries. You get what I'm saying? You want to show her that you honor her now, even as a parent, to help her feel empowered to uphold them in other spaces, whether it be school, at work when she's grown, or even at church, where that weird, creepy man want to come give you a hug, but you're like, no, I don't want to hug you right now. Or, no, I don't feel comfortable with that. I often acknowledge and accept that when my daughter doesn't want to hug me or doesn't want to hug a complete stranger, we respect that around here. So if she says no, baby, we respecting her and her body. So no means no around here. We want to make sure that we are modeling and showing them what healthy boundaries look like. Discuss how to say no politely but firmly, okay? And when to walk away from toxic relationships and situations. We want to make sure that we foster open communication and create a safe space where she feels comfortable sharing her thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. Me and Amira often say, all right, as a prerequisite, what I'm about to tell you, this is a judge-free zone. So when I know that she says, this is a judge-free zone, right, Ma? Yes, baby, you got my word. I'm not going to judge you. She knows that she can pretty much tell me anything. Now, does she really have to preface every conversation with, this is a judge-free zone? No, because by now she knows that no matter what, I will never judge her off of what she does. I mean, look at me. Who am I to judge? You know, I've made all the mistakes in the book, I feel like, and probably still making some. And I always often tell her that I'm open with her about my previous mistakes that I've made around her age. Of course, age appropriate mistakes. So I just want to make sure that she is comfortable with letting me know things that are happening in her life without her fearing judgment or being reprimanded or getting in trouble for being honest. One thing I do tell my daughter, oftentimes you will almost never get in trouble for being honest and telling the truth. However, if you tell me a lie, there are consequences. And I want my daughter to understand that, you know, I'm open and available. And I don't want her to be fearful of coming to me and telling me anything. I always want to make sure that she and I always have an open line of communication, no matter what. Sometimes, Mom, that requires me to check myself and my feelings. Even when it's the hardest thing for me to listen to, I sometimes have to put myself on a mommy timeout just to gather my thoughts and come back to her with a decent response. Sometimes I find myself holding my lips very tight and just waiting or delaying my response. So that way I don't either lash out on her, depending on what you're talking about. So that way I don't lash out on her or prejudge or just overreact overall. Sometimes I do have to say, well, you know what, Mira? I'm going to need a minute and I need to think about this. I'll come back to you on this one. Or if I, by mistake, because I am human and I am a mother, if I mistakenly come at her in a way that maybe not be the most pleasant at the moment, I'll always make sure that I double back and I apologize for my reaction if the reaction was a bit over the top. And if she felt like at any time she was not being heard in that moment, I do make sure that I apologize to her. Tip number 2, teach her to have a good character. Teach her to be kind and honest and compassionate. These qualities will set her apart and carry her through life no matter what she faces. But good character doesn't mean being a pushover. Teach her to stand firm in her values while still showing empathy to others. Remind her that integrity, doing the right thing, even when no one is watching, is priceless. A daughter with good character becomes a woman who was respected, trusted, and loved in every space she enters. Show her how to apologize when she's wrong, how to forgive, and how to hold herself accountable for her actions. I do believe one thing that our community often struggles with is accountability and being able to admit when we're wrong. I understand that admitting that you were wrong in a situation is a tough pill to swallow, or just admitting that you did something bad or maybe not the greatest thing, or maybe you messed something up or hurt somebody else's feelings. It's hard to come back from that and admit that you did it and you were the person responsible for making someone else feel bad, or responsible for breaking that vase at your mother's house or your friend's house. It's hard. That's hard to deal with, and it's hard to hold ourselves accountable sometimes. But when you start from when the kids are young and teaching them how to hold themselves accountable, and that no matter what, you always are supposed to do the right thing, no matter what the consequences may be. That is the best lesson you can ever teach a child. Now, that goes for daughters or sons. These are the lessons that will serve her well for a lifetime. Because we all know we got some grown, you know what, adults out here who do not take accountability for their actions. Model acts of kindness for yourself. Let her see you help others through volunteering or offering support, or simply being in daily interactions, or maybe being a good friend. Encourage empathy. Teach her to put herself in other people's shoes by asking questions like, how do you think they feel? Oftentimes, when Amira was younger, she will often see maybe homeless people in the street, and us being from up north, it would be quite cold outside a lot of times. And I will often tell her, do you see these people outside? How do you think they're feeling right now? You are in this warm, cozy car, and you have a warm, cozy house. However, they are forced to live on the street, unfortunately, in some cases. And I just taught her to be compassionate for those people. Don't judge those people. Yes, maybe they made some mistakes that landed them in not so great situations. But if we can empathize with those people and show grace, and not only show grace to them, but also in the same token be grateful for our situations and show gratitude that we don't have to be in that situation, I feel like it carries them a long way. I feel like it makes for not only a great child, but a great human being. If we were all more compassionate with each other, I guarantee you, half of the violence and crime that we experience on this earth would be eradicated if we were a little bit more compassionate and kind with one another. Practice gratitude. Help her develop an attitude of thankfulness by sharing what you're grateful for and encouraging her to do the same. Practice decision making. Give her small choices to make and discuss the thought process behind them. Reinforce the importance of staying true to herself. Don't allow her to give you answers that she thinks you want to hear, versus allowing her to come up with her own solution to the problem. Also, you want to encourage her to think critically. Encourage her to think of all assets and avenues. When she comes up with one solution, Come up with another scenario and say, well, what about this person in this situation? Would they be able to do this same thing? Or what would you do in this situation? Define integrity. Explain that integrity means doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Encourage accountability. Teach her to admit mistakes, apologize sincerely, and to take steps to make things right with people. Don't allow her to just push things under the rug with her friends or tell her friends, oh, well, they just need to get over it. Show her how to make a proper attempt to mend fences with her friends when they fall out. Because trust me, we have daughters. They will fall out at some point. And if her friends are not willing to mend fences with her, teach her that that's okay too. And because guess what? Our friends are allowed to have feelings too. Show her how to give space and make space for her friends and their feelings. Reinforce that kindness isn't weakness. Help her understand that being kind doesn't mean letting others take advantage of her. It's one thing to be nice, it's another thing to be kind. I always tell my daughter, you don't want to be nice because nice people get taken advantage of. However, you do want to be kind to people. To me, kindness just means that you're not going to go above and beyond to make someone else miserable. When you're being nice, to me, it's a bit passive. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to be nice and I'm just going to let this person do this because I don't want to make them upset. But when you're kind with someone, you're honest with them. You're not just letting things just pass just because you don't want to make them upset or you're scared to ruffle a little feathers. No, when you're kind, you're not going out of your way to hurt someone. Explain the power of forgiveness. Teach her that forgiving others frees her from holding on to anger and resentment. That's one lesson that I took so long to learn. But let me tell you something. The minute I started forgiving folks, baby, I just felt so free. So when you can teach and instill this lesson when your child is young, you don't have to worry about them growing up angry with an attitude about things that happened in their childhood or things that happened to them, or have them holding on to resentment and grudges from the people that maybe did them wrong. Teach them how to forgive and to move on. And just because you forgive somebody don't necessarily mean you need to forget what they done to you, and it also doesn't mean that you need to be friends. You forgive them for you, not for the other person. Differentiate forgiveness and excusing bad behavior. Help her understand that forgiving doesn't mean condoning bad behavior, and it's about finding peace with yourself. We don't want to give people excuses to being jerks. We don't want to allow her to give men or friends excuses for being terrible to her. You forgive them so that you can move on and that you can be in peace. But you don't need to have these people in your life constantly hurting you and causing you pain and strife. If those are the kind of people you have in your life, baby, get rid of them. Because it's not going to do you or that other person any good by keeping them around. And you know how we do that, mamas? We need to make sure that we are modeling forgiveness. Share moments when you forgave others and how it benefited you emotionally. Promote ownership of actions. Teach her that mistakes are a part of life, but taking responsibility for them shows strength of character. When she makes a mistake, guide her through understanding what happened and how she can improve and make better choices in the future. Foster problem-solving skills. Encourage her to find solutions to the problems rather than blaming others or making up excuses. If you've made it this far in the video, before I give you the last and final tip, I just wanted to come on here and just to say thank you for tuning in, and also to ask you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button and also that notification bell. Also, I just wanted to point you down to the description box. In that description box, you're going to find my website. On that website, you can sign up for email notifications to know when I post my next video or blog post. You can also check out my storefront and become a member of the website. The membership is called For the Girls, and you can become an honorary sister girl. The membership is only $9.99. With that membership, you will have access to live virtual meetups with me and other like-minded women within the community. You'll have access to exclusive digital products made for members only, and you'll receive member-only discounts on any of the merch products in my shop. Also, sometime in the near future, I will be hosting group travel trips. So you'll have exclusive member-only group travel trips where you will be able to connect and create lasting memories with your fellow sister girls. If any of that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and check out the link found down in my description box. Tip number 3. Teach your daughter to be a leader. It's not just about being in charge or being the boss. It's about inspiring others and making positive change and standing up for what's right. Whether it's in her friends group, her school, or one day in her career, leadership starts with confidence and vision. Encourage her to use her voice even when it shakes. Teach her to think critically, solve problems, and advocate for herself and others. Remind her that leadership isn't always loud. It can be quiet, steady, and impactful in its own way. Most importantly, let her see leadership in you. As moms, we set the example. When we lead with courage, grace, and determination, our daughters learn to do the same thing. Letting her take charge of tasks or family activities like planning a meal or organizing a game night is a great way to help her develop those leadership skills. Now that Amira is 16, really more so when she turned 10 and was able to stand over the stove or oven, I gave Amira a night where she was responsible for dinner. First, it started off with me in the kitchen with her. Then it started off with me in the neighboring living room, and she was in the kitchen, and I gave her specific instructions. And now that she's 16, now it's Amir, go in there and cook us dinner. And, well, not so bossily, but Amira, it's your night. You can go ahead and go cook us dinner. You can make up whatever you want to make. And now she willingly cooks without even being prompted. Especially if she knows that I'll be working late or maybe not coming home until later, she can go ahead and take the initiative and start dinner for herself, just as a small example. Explain true leadership. Teach her that being a leader isn't about being the boss. It's about making a difference and inspiring others. Let her know that even the best leaders know and learn how to serve those around or even below them. Sorry guys, the light went out. Celebrate her efforts and recognize when she is trying to be a leader. Recognize her attempts to take the initiative, and even if they don't turn out perfectly, let her know that it's okay. Let her try again and give her different attempts to take leadership again at the next time. Encourage risk-taking. Teach her that mistakes are a part of growth and that leaders often learn through failure or mistakes. I, for one, know that every lesson I've ever learned either cost me or I failed miserably first before I was able to pick it back up and try again. Encourage perspective-taking. Help her analyze situations from different scenarios or viewpoints to make an informed, empathetic decision on how to move forward in her leadership. Provide her with different leadership opportunities. Support her involvement in extracurricular activities like student council, sports, or community projects. My daughter, for one, took the initiative and became her teen club's ambassador. this was not even a position that was available. She just pitched it to the adult leaders of the program, and she was able to land it. Show courage in difficult situations. Let her see how you handle challenges and advocate for what's right. Be transparent about leadership. Share moments when leading was hard for you and how you overcame the obstacles. My daughter could often see how leadership is hard for me because I am the office manager, and she constantly sees me deal with either difficult patients, my employees complaining, the doctor complaining. Some days are great and other days are not so great. But she understands that that's what comes with being a leader. Involve her in decision making. Let her see how you weigh options and make choices that affect your family or community. Emphasize the importance of teamwork. Explain that great leaders uplift their team rather than working alone or talking down to other people to try to get them to do what you want them to do. Encourage group activities. Promote activities where she can learn to collaborate, like, again, sports, theater, or group projects. Model appreciation. Teach her to value and acknowledge the shared contribution of others to shared goals. Normalize introverted leadership. Explain that leaders don't have to be the loudest voice in the room. We often say, girl, you're loud and wrong. But teach them that they can lead by example or through quiet resilience. Sometimes our daughters may be nervous about outwardly expressing themselves, or they might be a little shy. So just teaching them how to lead by example. I always tell Amira, be the beacon of light within your community or within your friend group. When your friends are possibly doing the wrong thing, you want to encourage them to do the right thing, especially if you know right from wrong. All right, girls, that's a wrap. Remember, teaching our daughters to value themselves, build strong character, and lead with confidence starts with us. We're shaping the future one lesson at a time. I'd love to hear from you. What lessons have been the most important in your journey of raising strong daughters? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because this community is all about lifting each other up. Don't forget to like this video, share with your tribe, and subscribe. Thank you all for watching. You all have a wonderful day. See you next time.